For the past few days, Brisbane City has been in lockdown. Most of you are probably familiar with what lockdown is, so we haven't been able to leave our homes except under a list of very specific circumstances. And one of the reasons we've been given is that it's about keeping ourselves safe and also keeping each other safe, keeping our community safe. And someone asked me today what my thoughts were on the lockdown, and I don't want to get into the specifics. I don't want to talk about quarantine, lockdown, isolation, or social distancing. Instead, I'm going to talk about safety and just focus on exactly what safety is. So, to kick things off, I want to ask you, what is safety to you? What exactly does that mean? What exactly does that entail? Is it about avoiding death so you live a long life? Is it about avoiding injury and illness so perhaps you live a good life as well? Or is it just about managing risk, whether that's eliminating risk or minimizing risk in some way? And then, is safety important to you, and how important is it? Is it perhaps the most important thing? Is it somewhat important, but there's also other important things to consider? Or is it something that, truthfully, it's not very important to you? And then whatever it is, whether it's important or not, how much are you willing to give up? How much are you willing to pay to ensure your safety? What lengths are you willing to go to ensure it? Here's just a sort of a theoretical question for you to put things in perspective. Let's say you're looking at buying either a car or a house, and there's two different models. The base model has the absolute bare minimum safety features. The house has one barely working fire alarm. The car also has only one airbag, the absolute minimum they can get away with selling. And then the other model has the top of the range, state of the art, all the advanced safety features. Now, how much extra would you be willing to pay to get all that extra safety? Now I want to share a little bit about my experience with safety. And to do that, I'm going to use the hiking and adventure holiday I went on to the Canadian Rockies, which was a really great holiday filled with lots of memorable experiences. Now, it was a 14-day holiday. We were going to be camping in the Canadian Rockies and moving through them and doing all sorts of adventure activities. And we left Vancouver, and on the first afternoon when our tour guide had picked us up, and then we drove from Vancouver to the first campsite, before we'd even unpacked the trailer and started to set up our camp, our tour guide sat us down and gave us the safety brief. And this went on for most of the afternoon. He listed all the rules that we were expected to follow, what we could do, what we couldn't do, then went through in detail all the precautions we were going to take to make sure we were staying safe, and what we would do in the case of an emergency, like what to do if we ran into a bear, what to do if there was a bear in our campsite, and the list went on and the list went on. And then at the end of it, he summarized everything by saying, now there are 4 rules for this holiday, and I want you to remember them. The 4 rules are safety, 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 safety. Clearly from that, you can surmise that safety was a priority for our tour guide. And that makes sense. He was responsible for us. It would look quite bad on his part if he left Vancouver with 14 people in his tour group and he came back with only 10. I imagine his bosses would, very much want to know what exactly had happened to those 4 other people. But for the participants on the holiday, safety was, a factor, something we considered, but it wasn't the only thing we considered. Because let's just take this from a purely safety perspective. We were going to be staying in remote areas, far away from, assistance, far away from help. And in those areas, we were going to be sharing them with the local wildlife. And that wildlife included grizzly bears, black bears, wolves, mountain lions, moose. Fun fact, there are some years where more people died to being trampled by moose than being attacked by bears. And then the activities we were going to be doing also had a degree of risk involved with them. We were going to be mountain biking. We were going to be climbing very tall mountains. We were going to be rock climbing. There was abseiling. Some people did zip lining. We also did whitewater rafting. We did mountain biking. We did canoeing. We did kayaking. We went swimming in frozen lakes. We hiked across a glacier. We looked at a massive hole in said glacier. There was a lot of things we were doing that had a degree of that were relatively unsafe. And the sort of what I take from that is that safety is important, and I don't want anyone to take the message away from this that I'm telling you all to be unsafe. No, safety is important. It's good to live a long life. It's good to live a high quality life, but it's also for me important to live a full life. And if we only ever focus on being safe to the sort of extreme and not look at the other factors, we can often miss out on some really great experiences.